Carvello's putting challenge. I am Carvello. Now choose a club. You have chosen a 3-wood. May I suggest a putter? 3-wood. Now enter the force of your swing. I suggest feathered touch. You have entered power drive. Now push 7, 8,
Hubert,
7
tout le
to
monde est
swing.
content de vos résultats, mais vos méthodes, Hubert.
Qu'est-ce qu'elles ont, les méthodes?
Elles ne sont pas légales.
Here we go now! Here we go now! Here we go now! Here we go now! Here we go now!
Hello, everyone. Hey, Aaron, how's it going? It's going real good. What are we doing here? We're doing another discussion. And what about? We're going back in time a little bit. It's throwing me off here. No, we're talking about a film that we just watched called Wasabi.
Wasabi! 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 Wasabi!
And what would have normally been kind of a easy, kind of nothing discussion, we actually found had a little bit of depth to it.
It did.
More than you'd think, because this movie came out at a very strange time in both mine and Al's lives. It was 2001. It was, for me, Friday night like every other. Bunch of dudes gonna go rent some movies and relax for the evening. And we ended up getting late to the Blockbuster video, and nothing was available.
That happens to you all the time, or it used to.
Well, we used to all kind of get together late, like after 11 o'clock. So yeah, all the new releases are gone. So we just kind of randomly went around and started picking films. And I remembered Jean Reno. He was in The Professional.
Yep.
And I'd seen a couple other movies with him in it. And so let's give it a shot. And we ended up finding probably one of my most unknown but most appreciated films. I really like this movie called Wasabi.
Boys, shut your mouth.
What the?
It's our call.
But what the?
Shut your mouth.
And it is such a strange, eclectic mixture of genre, actor, language, subtitle. It shouldn't exist. It feels like it's a kind of a Frankenstein's monster of film. You have Jean Reno, who's known for French action. He's kind of a tough guy, big. If you've seen Leon, you know him. Then it's a French language title set in Japan, with Japanese actors speaking French lines. Some of them know French, but some speak it phonetically. But it wasn't released in Japan until a year after it was in France. And there's just all sorts of things going on with this picture that is just confusing to watch at times. And they actually poke fun at it in one joke.
Yeah.
But no, it's a very simple film, but we ended up getting a lot of discussion. A lot of thoughts crossed our mind when we were watching it. So, take us on a trip back to 2001. What was your mindset around that time?
I was a 21-year-old hothead, street tough.
Shock of black hair.
No, I was actually pretty much as I am. But back in 2001, I don't know if I was out of university by then.
Yeah.
Probably. Not much going on, actually. I was coming from a really strange place because during this time, I was kind of putting aside certain childish things at the time. You know, I was kind of getting out of doing some geeky things that I'd always done. You know, I was basically closing doors. Like that was like right in the beginning of me not playing any video games. There was like 10 years I didn't touch a game.
Yeah, not actively. Like, you might have messed around now and then, but,
yeah. Games were not my thing, movies pretty much weren't.
Yeah.
I had a few hobbies on the side. I used to play Warhammer. I had given that up by then. I tried to stay in it, but
you'd given it up. I'd say you gave it up before, but this was kind of the year that you just said, I can't do it anymore.
Yeah, so stopped watching television. I was actually kind of a miserable guy back then, and I didn't think too much of this movie at the time because, while I'm busy closing doors, this movie is kind of it's somewhat representative of the whole Hong Kong Japanese shootout movies. Like the who was that director?
John Woo.
John Woo. The guy with the two pistols in one in each hand, firing in both directions.
Yeah.
And I just didn't have time for that. It was never really my thing, and I was certainly not going to get into it at that time.
Well, that's where it's worth kind of talking about the film itself for a little bit, because I kind of come from the same place as he is. But the film is about a cop.
Right.
He used to be a former intelligence agent spying on the Russians in the Cold War.
Well, you're overcomplicating it.
Based in Japan. Well, no, it goes pretty quick after getting that line out. His girlfriend, who he was with in Japan, dies, and he gets called back to take care of their daughter that he never knew about. Mm-hmm. And through taking care of the daughter until she comes of age, they run afoul of the Yakuza. They have all sorts of crazy adventures because she's a wild child herself, and it's a movie about change and exploring what it means to grow up and continue to mature and accepting change as it comes at you. It was a fun little picture, and at the time, I kind of really identified with it, and along the same lines that you were talking about. I was not necessarily putting aside childish things. I was getting ready to accept more childish things. I was moving into university. I was graduating high school, and you realize, like, I used to be huge into Asian cinema and anime.
What, like Dragon Scroll?
Dragon Scroll? No, Ninja Scroll.
Ninja Scroll.
But I used to follow that stuff. I considered myself an aficionado of pretty much anything coming from Japan, and this was like the last film from Luc Besson that I remember watching when it was new. Mm-hmm. And after that, I didn't touch the genre for probably 7-8 years until, and even then it was only sparingly. So this movie really was the end of my love of the carefree high school days where all I did was watch martial arts flicks and basically immerse myself in Japanese culture in my spare time, and did all sorts of nerdy stuff too. So it was a very nice little picture for me to watch, and I've always had it in my collection afterwards, and everyone that I've shown it to said it's just an extremely pleasant movie. It's harmless in how it approaches action.
It's action light.
Yeah, very light action.
When you think of the John Woo movies, it's like you said, you're thinking about people sailing through the air, sideways, guns like that, and slow motion. Yeah, slow motion. Everything so pinpoint accurate, and the choreography is great. This is pretty standard stuff.
Yeah, this is almost TV level kind of action. Well, that being said, it's different because we had an old Jean Reno in this picture. Mm-hmm. Physically, couldn't do it anymore. Not that he was ever known as like a huge action guy, but he was an older guy, and he just kind of told the filmmaker right up front. He goes, "I really can't do a whole lot of the stuff that I know you want me to do." So they crafted a little bit more, I guess, dramatic role. A little bit more of a relaxed tone, and this is probably my favorite Jean Reno movie, just because he seems very at ease and comfortable, and they let him kind of flex his acting muscle a little bit, and he does a good job.
Yeah, he does an all right job.
But it was a strange time that this movie came out, and you said there was something else of interest that peaked when you were watching this.
And for the life of me, I know I said that. For the life of me, I can't remember what I said. Do you have any clue? Jog my memory for me a bit.
Well, we were talking about it, and you said, we'll save it for the video. Save it for the video.
Well, I wish I was more upfront with you, because it's just not coming out right now.
Well, it's one of those things, and it's... I'd say, first and foremost, this is probably the last time I really, really bought into... a foreign film just to buy into a foreign film. Not that I bought into it. It's a good movie.
Yeah.
But out of all the choices on the shelf, I chose the one that was the closest to me being the weeaboo type. Weeaboo.
I just don't feel comfortable saying that.
Well, people
I
that are
shouldn't
going
have
to come
said
and,
that.
people that are going to come after you are just a bunch of weak pansies.
We don't know that. They have swords, probably, right?
Well, maybe. You never know. They might not be worth anything.
Jeez.
When it comes to this movie as well, some of the there's one good laugh that I had. There's a bunch of good chuckles, but a laugh, they call it wasabi for a reason, and people that haven't tasted it have a good reaction the first time they really really get hold of it. No, but it's kind of a dumb, stupid, flopsy French movie. You have the sidekick that is really kind of a bumbling oaf, but he's an idiot. But man, is he fun to watch!
Mm-hmm.
And the movie moves at a very brisk pace. And it has one of my girls in there, Ryoko Hirasu. I had such a crush on her from this movie, but I was a young man at the time, and yeah, it was.
You don't know love. You only know kill.
I only know kill. All I need is kill.
All you need is kill, and you know what that gets me by. What makes you so special?
I don't know. I'm just so tired of all the killing.
What I like about this movie is like, yeah, it is pretty basic. So they go over the top, and like Jean Reno throws a punch, and it just doesn't land. It sends a guy
Sailing
20 feet across the room, sliding across the floor, this, I mean, it looks very, very basic right now, but at the time it was actually pretty good.
Well, yeah, I like the over the topness to it, the cartoonish violence. Like, they have a fight in an arcade, and every time you punch some guy, he's going through a machine, or he's landing on top of a motorcycle or a horse, a video motorbike. And there's always something to look at, and I think that's the one thing that really appeals to me in this movie, is that it just changes so much from locales, from spot to spot. It's a lot of fun, and it has throwbacks to the 90s Yakuza gangsters that you just can't get away from in this movie.
Oh, okay, I see what you mean. I think I remember the point I wanted to make. And, right on time, too. This movie, in a way, is kind of soulless. It's like, you see these Yakuza guys running around, they're tailing you, and they just look like straight up stock 90s villains.
Yeah, they're all wearing the dark suits, slick back hair, and sunglasses.
And, well, the movie was made in 99.
Yeah.
This whole movie is kind of about, almost like, for me, kind of like the end of the 90s, in a way.
It really feels like that. Even you look at the styles of the people in the movie, like the main character, Hubert Fiorentini, Jean Reno. Very basic, very simple, understated suit, which was the standby for a lot of these guys when they had to dress up. And then you have his daughter.
Straight out of Final Fantasy.
Yeah, straight up Final Fantasy character. She's like one of those, they used to call them, Harajuku girls?
Huh.
You remember
Really?
Gwen Stefani?
I remember that vaguely, yeah.
Yeah. But just bright colors, outlandish styles, mishmashing everything together, and then give it a dyed hair job. And you end up with his daughter. And, wow. Yeah, it exists completely in the late 90s. It's horrible. Dance Dance Revolution was still a funny joke thing.
Yeah. Well, maybe it's not fair. Like it is a good movie. Maybe I'm just projecting what I was feeling at the time onto this canvas of a movie that there's a certain amount of 90s in there. There's a certain amount of edge to it, and it's not quite there at the squeaky clean 2000s yet. It's still kind of sleazy, but you could tell it's trying to shed its skin there. you know.
It is. It's trying to be as edgy as it can be. And the 90s it wasn't a hard decade to be edgy, but at the end of it, it seemed like everyone was just throwing darts at whatever they could to try to stand out. And this movie, visually, it's just such a mess at times, but, you know, it's like watching a kaleidoscope pass by.
Yeah, it's beautiful, but it's just not quite there.
No. Like, there was no goal they wanted to hammer down with the art direction, cinematography, or anything like that. It's shot like an action movie.
Yep.
A 90s action movie. Very little style. They wanted to make sure everyone's right in the middle of the picture and tell the story.
And it's a good story.
Yeah.
I like it. It's like I say, I think the only problem with this movie is it's just not quite enough.
No, it's you wish that these characters, because I like these characters so much, you wish either it was like a TV show or a series of movies that they would kind of follow along, because I think you could have a lot of fun in this universe. You know,
on this planet called Earth.
On this island Earth. No, it's just, yeah, it's an hour and 45 minutes, and I wanted more, or I wanted those hour and 45s to have a little bit more punch to it.
Mm-hmm.
And the movie we got is still good. I'm still gonna recommend it.
Mm-hmm.
It's definitely worth a look. I'm keeping my copy around because everyone that I show it to, enjoys it.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna make you rethink the way that film is constructed, but it's gonna confirm that, in the mess of the 90s films and the underground indie hits and whatnot, there were some gems there, and there's still a lot that hasn't been found, despite everyone's attempts to find bad movies to laugh at. Why not try to find a good movie like this?
Mm-hmm.
That's my take, anyhow. But for you, that's left to you to decide. Whoa.
Ball is in. Parking lot. Would you like to play again?